time that they're actually training canines to detect fentanyl. Oh, she found it?
You gotta be able to read your dog. So it's a real demanding actual task. In order for us to do our job here and train these dogs, we're affecting the nation as far as a whole. We are high standard academy.
That's our next layer of defense for the American people, to stop these things and people from reaching our community.
Wow, we did it, guys. We found some drugs.
We love these dogs and we do everything we have to keep them in optimal health.
Can I have them?
Well, I wish you could, but...
Can we take them home? Hey, I'm Allie Bradley with NewsNation, and we are getting ready to get an inside look at the Border Patrol's K-9 Academy. It's the first time that they're actually training canines to interdict and detect fentanyl. We're gonna get this look and we're bringing it right to you.
Available for both human and canine. We have a spill kit, we have gloves, we have anything that we need in case of an emergency. If one of our canines goes down, if one of our handlers goes down, we take safety by far all the way to, yes, number one on anybody.
Here,
yes.
then,
so
then the program can't continue.
Well,
so I gotta make sure that you guys are good.
But we gotta make sure that everybody's in a safe training environment. So we have our kit ready, we have our training aids out. So the best thing to do is to bring out a dog, that way you can see it firsthand.
Okay, let's do it. So we're with K-9 Nina right now, and they've been doing some simulations showing how she finds fentanyl and actually detects it when it is in a vehicle or it is being hidden. So they're actually gonna let me take a little pass with Nina and see if I can be a good enough handler to guide her and if she will find the fentanyl. We'll see.
Go ahead and grab the dog first. So this would be you becoming an actual handler.
Okay.
We're going to go on the first pass. So we're just going to walk around the vehicle. She's going to be doing her thing. So the most important thing is actually keeping the leash short. So leash hand is left hand.
What do you mean?
Yes.
You want me to hold this like this?
So yeah, so you can hold the loop. Okay. And don't let go of the dog.
Okay.
Okay.
Deal. You have my word.
No,
I'll go down with the ship.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes. And now do I hold secondary?
No,
or
so
just,
no, you're fine with this. So what you're gonna do is instill the actual search command, which is what?
Whiskey.
Gift.
Gift.
Yes. So
Okay. What's whiskey?
Where's gift?
Where's gift? Okay.
So when you give her the gift command, you're just gonna walk her and you're gonna go around this vehicle and you're gonna go to the actual Suburban that's over there. Okay.
Okay.
That's gonna be in the gas cap.
Okay.
So don't freak out.
Walk around and we're gonna go to the gas cap.
So
okay.
Stay controlled, stay patient, stay,
Nina.
And then give her a presentation and give her the command.
Stand still. Woo. Okay. Whiskey.
Gift.
Gift. Gift. Where's gift? Woo. Come on, this way. She is stronger than I am.
So give me a presentation right here on this gas cap right here. Right.
Here.
Gift.
Gift.
Let her do her thing.
Oh, she found it? Woo!
Side happies are warner. Get it.
Good job, Mama! Woo! Yeah! Good girl! Good job, Mamas! You did it! Woo! Yeah! We got it, girl.
Good job. What we're gonna do is actually have a demonstration with one of the canines. One of our supervisors will bring out a dog, go through the systematic pattern. We'll go around the vehicles, eventually make it to the vehicle that actually has the training aid, and you'll see the dog's reaction on alert and indication. That way you understand what the bigger picture is on the whole training.
So we are right now with Border Patrol as they're conducting some of their training to actually detect fentanyl. What they're doing is they're running the dogs through these different kind of scenarios where these vehicles are, so they can actually find out if in fact they might be hiding or concealing any fentanyl or any other narcotics in these vehicles. Right now we have a scenario playing out behind us, a training kind of simulation. Walk us through what we're seeing, what's going on here.
So that's pretty much our foundation to actually teach a student handler how to be able to run a dog on leash. So we get a one-on-one training. They do a variety of drills that we have, mirror drills, leash hand drills, and it's to pretty much give them a picture of what's going to happen once we attach a dog to the end of that leash. So a lot of the times you can't just throw somebody and be like, you're a handler. You have to practice and actually get these techniques down. So in order for us to grade you properly and be able to put you on the field, you have to understand how the dog's capable of doing their job. So a lot of the times you're walking backwards at the same time reading the dog's alert. So it's not something that anybody can do. We've had people come through the course and actually not be able to pan out for us or themselves. So we have to be able to give them the one-on-one training to understand that in order for us to attach a dog that you just saw, and for you to be able to understand what the dog is doing, you have to do this. So it's a lot of practicing prior to being a handler. Not anybody can just walk up and be like, I want to be a handler. It's an actual thing that you have to love in order to be able to do it, because it is demanding. It's really demanding. This is a controlled environment, so everything that we have here is controlled by us. Whether it be the training aid odors, the environment as far as vehicles, but once they hit the field, that's out of control. So they have to be able to get really good at this before they get to the field. And that's one of the things that they understand is we can't pass you through this course and just be able to walk around. You need to understand what you're doing, because you're going to go up against the best of the best smugglers. You're going to go up against people that are in vehicles trying to hide from you, and you got to be able to read your dog. So it's a real demanding actual task.
Now, what are they looking for specifically when they're going around these vehicles?
So understanding what their instructor is trying to show them, maybe the actual tension on the leash, that the dog's showing them an alert, maybe just them controlling their footwork, be able to do presentations and walk backwards. A lot of the times it's just walking backwards and actually seeing a dog in front of you. People get excited, this is what they've always wanted to do. So trying to control those emotions, being patient, and you know that you want this dog, but sometimes you just need to understand that. Be patient, understand what we're doing, because this is a bigger picture than what you're actually seeing.
And how does a dog, like as they're walking around, how does a dog sniff out fentanyl behind steel, behind things in backpacks and whatever it might be, versus dust or versus powdered sugar? How is this dog able to detect that through this training?
So the dog's olfactory is what comes into play. So do you know how a dog's nose works? No? So a dog can actually sniff out a cheeseburger, but by sniffing the bread, the tomato, the cheese, the meat, the lettuce. They can actually divide all those odors separately. So in order for us to get here, we do pre-training. So we teach them the odors. We teach them the odors all in one in order for us to be able to split them eventually down the road. So they do an introduction as far as all the odors together, in order to understand what cocaine smells like, heroin smells like, marijuana smells like, methamphetamine, and fentanyl. In order for us to be able to separate the odors, we need to make sure that the pre-training is a process that understands that the foundation for the field is going to be the pre-training. So once we get good at that, then we start splitting each odor individually, and it comes up to the instructor and the course development instructor to understand that this dog is ready. This dog understands what cocaine smells like. This dog understands what methamphetamine smells like. In order for us to be able to deploy this dog in the field. You can't just send the dog and be like, well, it's close enough. No, we are high standard academy. We need these dogs to be able to smell these odors and be able to do it at a moment's notice. And once they get good at the odors, now we got to find concealed people. So not only are they finding what maybe fentanyl is hidden, they have to find what a person smells like behind a trunk, behind a fender, behind a dashboard. So it's one of those things that we have to make sure our training is held to a higher standard for these dogs to be able to do it.
What's the risk if it's not? What's the risk if
somebody's
they're not 100%?
life? Somebody's life behind the vehicle, or somebody's life in the neighborhood. It could be somebody's kids. It could be somebody's husband, wife, brother, sister, uncle. In order for us to do our job here and train these dogs to the standard that we need, we're affecting the nation as far as a whole. All this that we do is not for nothing. He might at one point find 300 pounds of fentanyl. He might at one point find 2 keys of cocaine. We don't know. the dogs that we're putting at the end of that leash are trained to do it. We need them to do their part to become a team to be able to do that in the field.
Now, what's he saying?
So he's giving them the search command, the Whereski. So we train our dogs in either German or Dutch commands, and it depends on what we're doing as far as on the actual searches. So for actual detection, it's gift. So they're actually looking for the trained odor. Help me find the trained odor. I'm giving you presentations and I'm moving. Use your nose and be able to help us as a team pretty much pinpoint where the location's at. So he's moving. You have your student instructor showing them how to move, how to be able to do presentations and be able to put it all together.
This is fascinating to see how they do this, because this is what we're going to be seeing more so in a checkpoint environment, right? Or at a port of entry. Or are we also seeing this? I've seen canines being called in an FTY or in a traffic stop situation. You bring this unit out together.
Yes.
That will kind of
You might
go
be
around the vehicle.
you might be
and
helping
see.
another agency that needs the
Okay.
help of a detection canine, and your supervisor told you yes, you can respond and use your dog to help them.
And that's what a lot of people don't understand, is that Border Patrol checkpoints are in the interior. They have already got past a port of entry. They've already made it into the interior when they've gotten to where you guys are at this point. Off the border, obviously,
Yes.
but they have made it through another layer of enforcement in some way, shape, or form
Yes.
to make it to your checkpoint where you're bringing out this unit to
Yes.
search the vehicles.
Yes, so
Okay.
that's another line of defense for the actual CBP that we have. We also cover between the ports of entry, so it's not only there, maybe in the field in the desert, but yes, that's what the checkpoint is intended to do.
Okay.
So hopefully give us that security. So this is our classroom. So this is where the student handlers and student instructors start their day.
And how long is training? How long is
So it
the
depends on the disciplines that we're doing. So it can go anywhere from 10 to 15 weeks, even longer for patrol, because patrol takes a lot more training, a lot more obedience with the canines. So it just depends what discipline. So we're covering detection today. So that's about 10 to 12 weeks for
10 to
students,
12 weeks
for
for
the student
detection?
instructors.
Okay.
For the student instructors. So the student instructors are a very important piece to the training, because they are the ones that are going to go to the field and maintain maintenance training for the student handlers.
Okay.
Student handlers, they come in, they have about 8 weeks, and that they cover is everything from curriculum to eventually bonding with the dog and then training with the dog.
Okay.
So the most important thing about this is they're just a regular agent. No experience prior to this. A lot of the ones that show up, maybe dog people, maybe they love a dog. They have no experience, so we need to train out to be able to do what we do in detection. So that's a lot of training in a short period of time.
How do they get selected? How do
So
they?
their process, it depends on their station sector, how many handlers they need for that period. They go through what we call an application process. They put a memorandum in that they want to do that collateral duty. And when they do an interview process, they go through their resume and everything and make sure that they're compatible to that actual collateral.
Now, is there a difference in their selection process if they're doing detection versus, say, they're doing tracking, like the bite dog side of things
So that's
instead?
a real
Because they're
good
different,
question.
right?
Yes, that's a real good question, because you're talking about two different agents. So the special operations group covers the BORSTAR BORTAC. So that would be your search and rescue and your patrol canines.
Okay.
Detection and track and trail, that's your regular student handlers that are just your regular agent. They will be covering mostly the southwest border, the northern border. They don't
So
need
they're
those
looking
specialty
for
training.
looking for drugs, and they're looking for people trying to evade. They're
So
not looking
conceal-
for necessarily a prison escapee, a
Exactly.
murderer, somebody like that, where you're calling in BORTAC, or somebody who was lost in the mountains somewhere on Cristo Rey. That's going to be BORSTAR. So this is going to be, hey, we got a hit on a camera somewhere. You need to go out and find them. And that's going to be these individuals that are tracking with their canine, and they're looking for people trying to evade.
Yes, so their primary job is to find concealed people. So yes, that is a good question. Once finding concealed people, they might run into narcotics during their whole job. But don't get it confused though, because there is times where your regular student handler that is a handler, canine handler, might have to help in a search and rescue because BORSTAR is not available. So they will have to help, maybe hike up a mountain, go look for a person that's lost because they call 911. That a detection handler can do that. That's where their training comes into play, because BORSTAR BORTAC, they're busy as well. So if they can actually deploy a detection handler to actually help, they might actually help in a search and rescue. So that's not always like, that's your specific job. Because in the job of looking for concealed people, you don't know the state that that person is in. They can be, hydrated or dehydrated. They could be in the middle of the desert for days, or they could be in the desert for maybe hours. So the detection aspect of it is our foundation training. Everything else, as far as specialty groups, that is for the special operations group. So it covers the majority of it.
Thank you for the insight. Appreciate that.
So we're going to cover real quick. We're going to go in here. So the one thing about the academy, we're self-sustaining. So we have our medical office with our veterinarian on staff. Our population for canines gets their health checks every month. Okay. So we have a large population that we actually keep of canines that are trained or not trained. They might be pending training, or they might be pending a handler in the future. So
can I have them?
well, I wish you could, but
Can we take some home?
there's plenty of them, and they're actually trained. They're actually real good dogs. A lot of these dogs, they've been bred to work. So they're not your typical house dog that you can actually go to the Humane Society and stuff like that.
So like what, they can go get me a pop from the fridge or
They
what? What are we talking- what are we talking-
but you will have to train them to do that. So, that's the one good thing about this academy is that we can actually take care of them. If there's a process that we need a specialist to actually treat them for a surgery, we'll actually go out and look for that specialist and have them treated. But for the most part, we actually have every canine here medically checked.
Okay. And you said once a month they get a check.
Yes, once a month for their maintenance check, and then go ahead and come in. So go ahead and step to the side. They're doing a surgery right now.
Oh my God, baby.
So we'll stay a little bit this way. That way we don't intervene with anything that they're doing. But this is the one process of the academy that we do, is maintaining our dog's health and anything that they need to make sure we have the best optimal health for them.
Wow.
So when people see our dogs, we actually take care of them really well.
That's
Anything that they need, dental, surgeries, rehabbing, we do it here.
Wow.
So that's the one thing.
I had no idea.
Yeah. So it's not you run of the mill, you just show up and the dogs are just waiting. No, we actually sustain and keep these dogs healthy until they're actually deployed to the field.
They're very much part of the Graydon family.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So that's the one thing about our program is that we love these dogs and we do everything we have to keep them healthy.
Wow. Sweet baby.
So this is the thing about the bloodline. So making sure that bloodline that we're getting is thorough as far as what we need. Once we go through pre-boarding, what we do is a selection test, which would actually have an actual site that we do. They do all these things that we need them to do for our work. If they pass that selection test, then they go through medical. And they have to pass medical in order for them to join our program.
And if they don't, what, you can just give them back?
So there's an actual process where the contracting with the vendor is, that's how it is. If they don't pass these selection, what we call performance, if they don't pass medical, that's part of the contract that they have to meet these requirements for us in order to purchase them. Because the process for us to work them in the field is demanding. I mean, we can't just take a run-of-the-mill dog and just say like, okay, you're going to walk in 100-degree weather and look for people. We need a specific dog.
You're right.
We need a specific dog that can actually work at a checkpoint with high traffic volume, maybe assist the port of entry, maybe be on a ship. You never know, or in a boat. They might have to get on a helicopter to actually go through the mountains. So we can't just take anybody. We have to be specific in what we want. And that's the one thing about us purchasing with vendors. And vendors are real good with us. So we have a good process that, it's not like we're picky. We just need them to do a job.
And the vendors know what you're looking for.
Yes.
So they're showing up with those dogs that are in
that requirement,
that
yes.
Makes sense.
I mean, that's the process. Dogs are already past everything. They're just waiting for their specific discipline. So we have Malinois, we have Shepherds, we have hybrid mix. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Dutch Shepherds. A longer to burn.
That's cute. So they've all
Fable Shepherd, Dutch Shepherd.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the discipline is pretty aggressive, is pretty stern when it comes to these dogs. And it's hard because sometimes you see that visually as a civilian, and sometimes it's a little jarring, but it is the discipline that they're taught and that they interact with their handler to be able, like, it's like if you're, I guess it's like the discipline of a child if you spank them versus not. It's kind of a similar kind of thing where the handler has to kind of take control of the dog.
So that's the difference between canine training. So there is no aggressive discipline that we do.
Okay.
The one thing about building temperament with the dog and the handler and the instructor starts from day one. So bringing those dogs out, understanding what their behavior is, understanding how to tap into it, and understanding how to control it.
So like those videos where we've seen a handler like kicking the dog, that would not be something that is a behavior that they were taught to do that to discipline their dog.
No,
it's something
so that's the one thing about once we start with day one is controlling the dogs, not by force, is by what we know and the field experience and the training that we receive. So yes, they do come out high drive, they do jump around, they do, but that's the one thing that we teach our instructors, even our instructors in the field, is how to tap into being able to control your patience is what it is, and be able to train the dog to understand you. So remember I was telling you about brain training to be able to understand the dog?
Mm-hmm.
So not just letting the dog run amok, like you're saying about the hyper kids, is yes, you have energy, but let's use it for the good. Let's use it for good behavior. Let's use it for when I can pay you for what you do for me. And that way you understand that, yes, you can be as rambunctious as you want to be, but we're going to do the job that we need to together.
You do more of a reward system based on when they do their behavior correctly versus a discipline response. Now, they also don't, from what I understand, when they go home with the handler at night, they're not in with the family necessarily. They're not part of the home unit. They're usually kenneled away.
Well, they're kenneled in the environment, so at their home.
Okay.
So we do provide, as far as when they go to the field, a hutch, a 10x10 run. So they are within the family compound.
Okay.
They do see the kids, they do see the wife or husband, and they understand like, okay, this is our pack. So day in, day out. So the one thing about walking through the kennels right now, they understand that when we show up, it's work time. So the same thing happens at home. You show up in uniform, it's work time. You show up in plain clothes, it's off duty time. Oh, who's that? Oh, that's your son. That's our pack. So that bond starts building, and that's actually one of the things that we do use for the field, because understanding your dog 24/7, yes, it's a lot of work, but it actually helps you be very productive.
Okay.
So that's the one thing with being within the Border Patrol, is always having the dog with you. So it's one of those things where, yeah, I see the dog more than I do my wife, my kids. But working in the field is so rewarding to understand that we're actually doing something to protect our nation's borders, either by finding concealed people or narcotics. It's one of those things that me and my partner did it from the training from day one to now. So that's the one thing that people that put in for being a handler want to do, is find that reward system within that bond with a K-9, and it starts right there. So the way you saw them, we actually grab the agent that shows up as a student handler, we give them their first saver with their leash, go get your dog. So they actually have to understand how to actually leash up the dog and walk out with the dog, and we take them out, do the break.
Do they get to pick?
So that's
Well,
not so much a pick system.
You don't walk up and go, oh, you picked me.
Imagine if we did that, everybody be picking the most handsome dog. So no, it's not like that. It's actually what the actual dog can be good for as far as in the patrolling environment. Is it a high volume checkpoint? Is it mostly brush ops? Is it some environment where the dog might do 50-50? So understanding where the dog needs to go. And then a lot of the times too is maybe we pick that, but maybe our student handler physically can't control this dog. So we might have to do an adjustment where like, well, let's give him this dog, and maybe this dog will work better with this handler.
Okay.
So it's one of those processes. If we let everybody pick, it'd be a rough situation.
Why was it important for you to be involved in canine handling and the detection of drugs and the detection of people that are trying to evade? Why was that important to you?
I think there's a real sense of service to country and service to our communities when you become involved in something that's bigger than yourself, right? So not just the Border Patrol, but as a canine handler, you're getting to utilize a different tool, a specialized tool that not very many people in the country get to use. And when these canines can find people in peril, hidden and concealed in compartments, their lives are in danger in the bed of in the trailer, an 18-wheeler, and there's no way out. There's no airflow. We've seen and heard all the news reports of the just the crazy dangers that the smugglers are putting people into. Smugglers don't care. They're all about what comes back to their wallets, not how well they're treating the people that they're smuggling.
Yeah, and one of the things that really hits their wallets is moving drugs too. And we know that
Absolutely.
you guys just added the fentanyl detection piece to the narcotics element for these dogs. Tell me what it means to you to be able to have dogs trained up to be able to find what is arguably the most deadliest drug on the planet.
So I think the biggest key to us here as the United States Border Patrol K-9 Academy, our requirement is to provide the capability to the Border Patrol. So the Border Patrol has requested that we add that odor to our K-9s. As you know, it's a fentanyl crisis. President Trump has declared a national emergency on this, back even in January, and for the opioid crisis and these synthetic drugs. Our part of adding that to our repertoire of odors on our K-9s is critical. Our dogs are finding all of these things that are dangerous to the communities. This is what's the best way to say this? This is the way we can give back as a whole. As the K-9 community for the United States Border Patrol, been the best of the best for 30-something years, and now we're even adding on to that. And now we've got a different tool to add to that arsenal of combating, finding, detecting, locating, and keeping these drugs, these synthetic opioids, fentanyl, hydrochloride specifically, from reaching the communities in the interior of the United States. And hopefully we can help slow down the number of opioid deaths.
Now, when it gets to you guys, how did it make it to you? Because obviously your checkpoints were inland a little bit.
Correct.
How did it make it to you in the first place?
So Border Patrol specifically, we're responsible for keeping bad people and bad things out of the country that enter the country between the ports of entry. Office of Field Operations handles everything that comes in at the ports of entry. So between those ports of entry, anything that comes across the border there, that's on us. That responsibility is on our shoulders. And the men and women of the United States Border Patrol have done a fantastic job since 1924 dealing with those specific threats. And so if that's smuggled across the border between the ports of entry up to a stash house, and then gets repackaged, repurposed, and put in a vehicle headed down our ingress routes into the United States beyond the ports of entry, that's where our immigration checkpoints come into play. And our K-9s that are going to be trained to detect fentanyl that's going on now, those K-9s will have a major impact in that movement.
Okay, so we just showed you an inside look at the K-9 Academy here in El Paso with Border Patrol, who are showing us specifically how these dogs interdict hard narcotics, specifically fentanyl. That was just added to their list of narcotics that they're looking at. We saw how they are able to detect when a person is being smuggled as well. They're another line of defense for Border Patrol and a force multiplier as well for them, so that agents are able to be out there doing their job, and with help from these K-9s are able to keep America safe.
I see this more as a national security threat, so I take it very seriously.
It's personal for Shane. He actually makes it his mission to find people who are harming children.
He's got close to 100 individuals that he has successfully captured.
You're looking for subjects that don't necessarily want to be found.
We want them all. We don't want to pick one or two off. We want all of them.
I really don't care who gets the credit. Get the bad guy off the streets, that's what matters. It's very motivating to know that other people want to accomplish the same good things that you do.
Hey, I'm Allie Bradley with NewsNation, and we actually got an exclusive story with an intel agent named Shane. He's in El Centro, and he actually works to find targets in the interior, hundreds of miles away from El Centro. He's finding individuals, and it's personal for Shane. He actually makes it his mission to find people who are harming children because he himself is a dad, and he wants to keep those individuals off the streets. So here's the story about Shane and why he has a hashtag, Shamed. Oh, how does it feel to have your own hashtag?
It's interesting. It's unexpected. I never thought I would have my own hashtag, but it's a good thing that's related to this work that we're doing, getting these dangerous criminals off the street.
And the work that you're doing, and the hashtag is shamed. Tell me what shamed means.
Shamed means that we did our job. We found them. We did our investigation. We worked in collaboration with other law enforcement agencies, and we all worked together. That's the important thing to remember. We all work together to accomplish the great thing, which is getting this arrest and getting this this criminal off the street.
So shamed equals success.
Yes.
When that hashtag is up there, that means you guys did your job correctly. So how do you get this target initially? How do you get the info? Where do these people come up on your docket? How do you get that info in the first place?
Okay, that's a great question. So the targeting usually begins through sources that send us information. Okay, so what we do is we take that information, okay, and then we cross-reference that derogatory information with our law enforcement databases to see if we get hits. Has this person been encountered on the border by the Border Patrol, or has he illegally entered the United States and now he's living in the United States somewhere? So once we get a hit, we establish this person has either been encountered by Border Patrol and then been released and now living in the United States, or did he enter the United States illegally and now he's living somewhere in the US? So once we identify that person, that's when the investigation begins.
So does that person have to have any nexus to the El Centro sector at all for you to get their information, or can it be just anybody with a border nexus or an immigration kind of infraction associated with them?
It could be any alien that has entered the United States. So if that alien has a criminal history, is a wanted fugitive, has any kind of derogatory information, that person potentially becomes a target for me.
So why is it you? Why are you the guy that's doing the entire country basically, right? Because this doesn't necessarily have a nexus to El Centro. You're getting these targets based on infractions that they're guilty of or have convicted. So why is it you?
I don't necessarily see it as the microcosm of El Centro. I see it more in the broader picture of the United States. These subjects are legally entering the US, right? So they're here, whether they've, been caught and released, or where they've, are gotaways and they illegally entered the country, they're here. So I don't see it as like, this is, this El Centro thing. I should stay in my lane in El Centro. I see this more as a national security threat. So I take it very seriously.
And that's in your job description, right? So that makes sense that if it has that nexus to immigration, what you signed up for, that you'd be doing this. So you obviously get your target. What's the first step? You've got their name, you know where they are, or how do you find them? What is the first thing that you do once you get your target?
So first thing is, again, like I mentioned before, identifying that person. We've established that this person is living in the US. So from there now...
Well, what are you doing? Are you putting out a bat signal? Are you putting out, flares? Hey, this guy's in your community. Round up the, local partners or the federal partners that we do have up there. Like, what is the first thing when you know who your guy is? What are you doing?
Okay, so in most cases, these people will leave a footprint. In modern society...
A literal one or a figurative one?
Figuratively, they leave a footprint somewhere. Right? In modern society, we all have to have cell phone accounts. We all have to drive cars, and I don't want to get too much into it, but we have to leave a footprint in today's society. And those are things that we investigate, and we find our targets, and then we action those targets.
Follow the footprints.
Yes.
Track that sign.
Push that sign.
Okay. So what challenges have you faced or do you face in finding these individuals? Obviously, you have the resources, the technological advancements to be able to do that. Some of those are national security things we can't discuss. But what challenges do you run into with this adventure that you're on?
So the challenges, it's different from case to case. Some cases are a little bit less demanding, other cases a little bit more challenging. The great thing is that we could work with great people in other departments and other law enforcement agencies. And it's a great thing, and it's very motivating to know that other people want to accomplish the same good things that you do. So when you find the right people that work with, that have a like mindset and are willing to accomplish great things and find these these bad actors, these public safety threats, then good things could happen.
Do you run into problems in your own backyard with the California law where they're not really allowed to work with the feds, or is most of what you're doing outside of California?
We do action some targets in California. Most targets that we've been actioning have been farther in the interior, whether they be Utah, it could be Florida. I mean,
Are sanctuary states and cities problematic in this endeavor?
no, not too much. Not too much. Not too much. Yeah.
So are you using other agencies' information? Are you guys teaming up? Are you using local intel, things like that, when it comes to identifying where these individuals might be? Or do you have everything kind of self-contained at the level where it's time to go get them and you know where they are, and then the local entities kind of support you? Or how does that work with the partnerships?
So we'll reach out to whether it be federal law enforcement agencies, local enforcement agencies, state enforcement agencies, where we could reach out to a variety of different law enforcement agencies, depending on the subject, their criminal history, what they're wanted for, if they're wanted fugitives, depending on the severity of the crime. Each case, can be a little bit different. But collaboration, cooperation with law enforcement agencies has been fantastic.
Do you even need, I hate to ask this and you don't have to answer it if you don't know the answer or don't want to share. From my sources, generally when they run a guy, right, you've got a guy's name and date of birth. You can see their local infractions as well. Do you even need intel from local entities, or for the most part on the federal side, are those infractions logged on the federal? Do you have access to that? Or do you need their intelligence on traffic stops, on DUIs, things like that, that you wouldn't be involved in? Or is that usually logged in their case file by the time you get them?
So when you're looking for subjects that don't necessarily want to be found, any type of information that you may come across could be useful. So if a subject has been pulled over by local police for, running a stop sign or something like that, that's a footprint.
But that would be logged in your guys' intelligence, right? Because that goes through databases and then it ultimately is going to be in that guy's file, right? From what I understand, because my source is an ICE, fugitive operations human being who will say, oh, well, that guy got stopped in Tennessee by Highway Patrol. Obviously, Border Patrol was not involved at all, but it made it into his federal file. So is that what's happening, or do you have to call Tennessee and say, hey, has that guy been stopped by you? Do you have anything that you can share with me? Or is it pretty self-contained by the time you know who your target is?
Every case is a little bit different. Some are more self-contained than others. Some have just gone to a location, they've established themselves there, and that's where they are. Others have been more transient, have moved around a lot more. Those are a little bit more challenging to find.
Okay, so let's go into that. Who's the most challenging target that you've had? What's been the wildest case? Let's go into first, what's the most challenging and what was the most time consuming?
Well, each case is different, but some cases you can have a case where it takes 3 to 4 months to finally, get an arrest. But keep in mind, none of this could be possible without the collaboration assistance of, the ICE FOT guys or, other federal law enforcement agencies, local police. We get a lot of information from everybody. These guys really work very hard. And, sometimes these investigations take a while. They could take 2, 3, 4 months. But ultimately, we do make that arrest.
And now when you get your guy, when you know exactly where they are, is Border Patrol doing the apprehension? Is ICE doing the apprehension? I know every case is a little bit different. It depends on where they are along the border, I'm sure, and if Border Patrol's present or not. But for the most part, ICE is in the interior, not so much Border Patrol. So who's making the arrest typically? And then don't think that you're going to go away with not telling me what your most challenging case was.
So typically, the law enforcement agency that makes the arrest will be ICE. Okay. They're fugitive operations teams.
And they'll work with HSI or whatever, because they have their kind of task force, right?
Yes,
all the three-letter agencies are out there kicking dust around together.
Right.
So one of those kind of groups would grab them.
They are now more so than before. So now they're working together in targeting task forces. So now we have more assets now. And so those are the guys that are usually making the arrest, the surveillance. They're assisting in the investigations, and then they're seeing it home. They're actually making the arrest.
Okay. Now, does that count as a Border Patrol arrest, apprehension, or would that go under the ICE umbrella? Do you know?
I really don't care who gets the credit, to be honest with you.
There's the answer. There you go.
As long as we get the
See?
bad guy off the streets, that's what matters.
Okay, so who is the most challenging? What was the case? What was the individual's crimes?
The most
and why was it
challenging
challenging?
I would say there've been several, but one that took about 4 months is that he was very elusive, very hard to find. And it was a subject from Ecuador that was wanted, foreign fugitive, an Interpol fugitive, and he was wanted for the child rape of his 70-year-old stepdaughter. So he was encountered, well, we could say he left a footprint somewhere in the interior United States, and he got away. So he had no immigration record.
That presents its own unique challenges,
yeah, so
right?
that's,
You don't know when they entered, don't know where, nothing about them.
Yeah, and we're talking about a person that was traveling from different states, 2, 3, 4 different states, living in one state, working in another state, then had relatives in another state.
Do you prioritize any of your targets based on the crime? Do you have any kind of personal, hey, I don't like these child rapists, I don't like these, people that are assaulting officers? Do you have a priority in the list that you see of who you want to go after?
Absolutely. So they're all heinous crimes. The murderers, the prison escapees, the foreign prison escapees, the rapists. But the child rapists, they're the worst, and they're the ones that I give priority to. And sadly, I've had a great number of these cases that I've worked, and when you hear those stories, it's heartbreaking.
Do you think there's more of them, or do you think there's just more reporting on it, or more people going after them? Or do you think the number is higher now than it was of child molesters and rapists in our country right now?
It seems like there's a great deal of them out there. But the good news is that we're doing a great job of getting these folks arrested and getting them put in detention. So that's great news.
So when ICE does make the arrest, or this fugitive task force makes the arrest, I know down in Kinney County, the sheriff is kind of doing something similar. He's not, obviously, it doesn't have the resources that you guys do, but there will be crimes that are committed in Kinney County, and then he works to either find them within the interior with federal partners. But there's always an extradition process because they committed that crime in Kinney County, so he needs them back. Is there any extradition that needs to happen here, or because it's federal, the crime was committed in the U.S. or whatever infraction that they have kind of on their record, they're in the United States and it's a federal entity arresting them? Are they just, once they're arrested, they're now in federal custody, there's no extradition needed on their case, or how does that work?
So you have to be careful not to confuse the extradition process with the removal process. So when a subject's been arrested for either being a criminal alien...
if they committed a crime in Maryland and you arrest them in El Paso.
Yes.
Is there a federal, removal, one thing, he committed a crime, we want him gone.
Yeah.
But does he have to stand trial in Maryland? Do you have to get him back somewhere? Does he have to be extradited back to answer for his crimes? Or now that he's in federal custody and facing removal, is that his kind of punishment or their punishment? Can you walk me through that, if that makes sense?
It depends. If they're foreign fugitives in a country that's not the country of their citizenship, are you tracking? Mm-hmm. If they're not the country of their citizenship, then that's when the extradition process takes place. Okay. So they'll have to be an illegal alien, they're a criminal alien or wanted fugitive, and they're wanted in a country that's not the country of their citizenship. Okay. That's when the extradition process takes place.
But the U.S. wouldn't be a country of their citizenship, right?
I'm sorry?
The U.S. isn't the country of their citizenship, so wouldn't there be some kind of extradition process here on their behalf?
There is, if they're wanted in a country that's not the country.
Like if they're from Chile and wants them back, then that's when the extradition process would start up on the federal side.
So if they're from Chile and Chile wants them back, they'll just get removed to Chile. Okay. They'll just get order removed. They'll go through the legal process here in the United States. an immigration judge will order him removed, and that person will get removed to Chile. But let's say, for example, that Chilean is wanted in Brazil. That presents a whole set of new challenges.
Okay, and we do
Because
see that too, right?
Oh yeah, we see that quite often as well.
So I guess where I'm lost is if there's any need for it in the U.S., if they're a federal arrest or in federal custody. Because like what I keep thinking is, say like the Lake and Riley, you know, the guy that went down for that. Say he was not busted in where, I forget where she's from, North Carolina, something like that. If he was not arrested in that state where he committed that crime, because he faced trial for her murder, right? Right. Would he then have to be moved to that country, or would you guys have to deal with that, or is that part of, I mean, that's probably way outside of your realm of things, right?
Usually
You would
those
just kind of hand him over?
Yeah, those extradition. Once we have him in DHS detention, he's in detention. He's off the streets, so he's no longer a problem.
And then they'd say, hey, he needs to stand
Right.
trial. We'll just go grab him or whatever, because it's the U.S. is the U.S. is the U.S.
Yeah. So
okay,
once he's in detention, at least we have him where he's safe. He's not a public safety risk anymore. And now that extradition process, if we have to extradite him to another country, then that extradition process will go through the Department of State and the U.S. Attorney's Office.
Gotcha. Thank you for walking me through that. Sorry, I'm like kind of an idiot.
Also for like, if I think I'm hearing your question right, if once we find them, let's say they have an outstanding crime in Massachusetts.
Yes, and that's kind of like.
So the process at that point would be Massachusetts would, if we saw that there's a warrant out for this guy in Massachusetts, we would contact the law enforcement agency there and say, hey, he's in federal custody now. We plan on removing him unless.
Okay, unless there's pending something.
Extradite him back to you.
And that's where, yes. Sorry, wasn't super clear, but thanks for getting us back to around, because that question was kind of nuanced.
In other words,
like,
that situation would be.
Because it's extradited, but it's not, right? Like, that's a tough word to use,
with,
right?
With whatever jurisdiction to ensure that a crime committed in the U.S. is resolved.
In the U.S.
Okay, yeah.
That's the distinction.
But there are, I mean, I don't think it happens super often, but there could be scenarios where, for example, a sanctuary jurisdiction, if we think that we release a person back to a sanctuary jurisdiction to stand trial for a crime committed there, you know, I know it's happened, and I could see it being an issue that we won't honor that extradition from the jurisdiction, the sanctuary jurisdiction.
Because you know they're going to get released.
As soon as they're finished with whatever the criminal justice is there, we don't want to have to go shame them again because they get released.
They'll get released.
That makes sense. Okay, thank you for breaking that down for me.
And they won't notify us when they release them.
That's the biggest issue, right? Is like, it's not just that they're not, local law enforcement aren't calling you guys, say, hey, we got a traffic stop where there's 6 individuals here that can't provide any ID. We need your help. They're not only are they not doing that, but then when they do get someone they know is here illegally, they won't call you to notify you within the window that allows you to come and get them, and then they walk free, essentially.
As me personally, let's say one of my kids was harmed, or a family member was harmed by an illegal alien that gets caught, and it's in a sanctuary jurisdiction, I would be outraged that it would be the fault of the sanctuary jurisdiction that my family does not see justice because the federal government is not willing to give this person up, because knowing the reason behind that is we don't want that person to victimize someone else, because we're not going to get notified. When I say we now, the federal government is not going to get notified by that sanctuary jurisdiction that, yes, this guy went to trial, he was convicted, he served 4 years in prison, but we're not going to tell you when we release him, and he's going to go back out on the street. So
it blows my mind.
Which makes no sense.
It blows my mind.
It makes no sense.
Like, who does that benefit? And I mean, that's kind of a rhetorical question, but who? Who does that, you know? And there was just another case where a guy was the suspect in someone's death, murder. I don't know if it was DUI or what it was, but the guy, zero jail time. you know, and I can't imagine what that would be to be the victim's family and go, oh, it was this policy or it was just this thing, this line of compassion that's like.
They just said the guy got.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, he got probation.
There were two. So there was that guy who got probation, and then there was another guy who served 6 months or something of his 20-year sentence or something crazy, you know, and it's just like, again, who is this compassionate stance actually good for other than the criminal? And if like, what are we doing here? That's
There's
what I
another
don't
case
understand.
locally, I think Tom Holman spoke about it. An illegal alien driving drunk
I feel like
killed
this is-
two, I think they were teenagers or two young people.
A couple
they were a
or
couple.
something like
They were a
that.
couple,
Yes.
yeah. So he was tried and convicted, I think, of vehicular manslaughter, sentenced to 10 years in prison, and he was released on 2 years.
That's the one that I'm talking about, and then there's another one. It's crazy, but
And
again,
they were just
like,
going to release him without informing the federal authorities of his release, and that was here in California.
and there's another one. Let me see this one that was just posted too, and it's just again like, I don't understand who. Do you guys have a take on that? Like, what is
Governor
that?
Newsom recognized the
I can't
folly
find it.
of
My
that
service is
because
bad.
He, as you're well aware, I'm sure, when that came to light, the case that we're talking about, the governor said, no, we will guarantee that this guy will not be released or will be released into ICE custody when
Mm-hmm.
he serves his sentence.
Yes, and that was a afterwards kind of thing, right? Like the outrage comes, and then they're like, "Uh oh, I want to run for president in 2028. I better figure this one out."
That's true.
I mean, you know, his constituents aren't very happy there. Okay, so obviously we started this conversation. I asked you, what does it feel like to have your own hashtag? So let's go into that a little bit differently. What's it feel like? You just told me you prioritize these child molesters. We're getting a little bit personal here. You have kids of your own. So it's personal and to a degree for you. What does it feel like when you get your man? What does it feel like when you know that that person is not on the streets to hurt any children, to not do that heinous crime ever again? What does that feel like to you for that to be your accomplishment?
Feels fantastic. Really can't describe the feeling because a lot of yourself goes into these investigations, and you get vested on a personal level. You get vested into these investigations, and when you see all the hard work, and sometimes it takes, like I've told you, 3, 4, 5 months, and you see that actually that all paid off in the end, and when all the work was worthwhile. And you see that subject in cuffs, and he's finally arrested, and he's finally paying the consequences for his actions. It's an indescribable feeling. It really feels great.
What was the case that sucked you into all of this? What was the one thing where they were like,
That's a
yeah,
good
this is the
question.
guy. We're going to use him. Make him go do that. What was it where A, you were like, this is what I want to do, and B, that they had the confidence in you to be able to show up in this capacity and carry this out?
Yeah, that's a great question. I remember on my first case vividly. It was a Brazilian gang member and a foreign fugitive as well. It turned out, we found out later on, but a foreign fugitive as well. And this is an interesting case. So he's a gang member, a foreign fugitive. He was convicted of murder, I think, or twice convicted of murder in Brazil. And, well, here he comes into the U.S. So he was processed and released into the United States, unfortunately. So
Really?
that was my first case that I identified as a foreign fugitive gang member that was released into the United States.
What year was that?
And that was, I'm going to say, 2022, I believe.
What did that make? When you heard that he was quite literally in custody, processed as which you didn't know at the time, foreign fugitive, when you learned though at the very base that guy was just let into the country in 2022, what did that make you feel like?
It was confusing, but it made me angry too, because these types of things shouldn't happen. These type of folks should not be allowed to just walk into the country without any consequence. So that was my first case, and that was an interesting one.
And the rest is history,
The
huh?
rest is history.
Did it get in your blood? Like, did it?
was a good
I mean, because
feeling.
it's different. It's different
Yeah.
than being a line agent. It's different than whatever you've
different.
probably done in your career as Border Patrol. How'd you end up in it in the first place, in the intel side of it? Were you just curious, or were you just wanting to do a little something different, or what? And then they're like, hey, here's this Brazilian guy who was processed and released into the country.
Processed and released in the country. It wasn't even through El Centro sector. It was through another sector.
How'd you end up with him?
I have a very nosy, curious nature.
There it is. Very nosy and curious
Very
nature.
nosy, curious sector.
That your wife loves. I'm just kidding. So, okay, so you love doing, that was something you're just like, this is what I want to do. I make it, my impact is here.
Yeah, I love kind of looking and digging into things and kind of looking for things maybe others aren't looking for, and trying to identify these folks. Because once you identify one and then you identify two, and then you know there's got to be more. So then you keep looking for things, and you keep looking at information, going through databases and stuff like that, and you start coming up with more information. And based on that information, you start identifying more targets and more targets and more targets and more targets. And then it just keeps going, and it becomes a passion. It gets in your blood, and you get really, really excited about it.
Do you feel like you'll be able to get them all? I mean, you see the list keeps going, keeps going, keeps going. You've got it. You've got personal investment in this, like you just said. You're vested in this. Do you look at it and you go, I can't do it all. I can't keep everyone safe. Or are you confident that there are other people like you shaning people across the country? Or what do you see when you see that list continue to grow?
Well, I mean, I could just do as much as I could do. I work as hard as I could work and identify and target as many of these subjects as I can. And, that's as much as I could do. But there are others that also work very hard in identifying these public safety threats. They're doing a great job as well.
Shane, have you identified anybody, went after them, couldn't find them, and then they committed another crime? Has that happened yet?
It hasn't happened to me, although I have experienced going through the work, identifying a target, locating him, arresting him. The target goes to court proceedings and is ultimately released by a judge back on the streets again. That part is very frustrating. And
Does that happen often?
It happens.
Too often.
Too often, yes.
Okay. Anything I didn't ask Shane yet?
Just kind of what I've been asking, everybody that I speak to, just because NewsNation is what we like to call news for all Americans. So I like to always ask, what would you like to tell the American people, maybe that are on the interior, about your job in protecting their lives and the safety of others in America by doing what you do?
Yeah, because right now everyone's just looking at ISIS sacking up kids and women and innocent people, right? And you guys are all kind of lumped in the federal side together right now, kind of with, depends on what side of the aisle you're on, but there's definitely some heat coming from one side of the country right now. So yeah, what would you say to either let people know what you're doing, or to also reassure them that this is a targeted enforcement, so to speak?
I would say we're working very hard. Not only me, but others like me are working very hard to identify these bad actors and to deliver consequences. And we're working as hard as we can, and there's a lot of great people that are doing great work here in Border Patrol, for ICE, Marshal Service, the DSS, the list goes on and on. I've collaborated with a lot of great people, and they're doing a lot of great work, and we're seeing a lot of great results.
And I'm going to say this in a way, but it's not how it's meant. It's not how do you sleep at night, but how do you sleep at night? Do you know what I mean? How do you have this list, this rolling list of people that keep growing, and you know your responsibility, and you know your skill set, and you know what you have access to. So how do you go, okay, I can rest for a couple hours. I can relax for a minute, and you're not working 25/8, right? How do you put it down and step away from it, knowing how much of an impact you have?
It's hard sometimes because it becomes a passion. You just want to keep going and want to keep going. You want to get that next target. You want to get that next child rapist. You want to get that next violent gang member. You know, there's just so many hours in the day, unfortunately.
And you've got to reserve
Yeah.
some of those hours for
Yeah.
your loved
So
ones too.
we'll take them one at a time.
One at a time.
One at a time.
And it helps that your wife gets it, I'm sure. I'm sure. Guys, is there anything that I didn't ask Shane that you're like, people need to know that, or he's done this and he's being modest?
The only thing I would say is, Shane, why haven't you been in our office before now as a public affairs officer?
Right? I know. There you go. You're gonna have another task to take on.
Always busy in my office. Yeah.
I feel that.
Very good interview, I think.
I think so too. Anything
Appreciate
that I
it.
didn't
Thank you.
ask you that you do want to share, that because you're the last person I've asked if you want if I didn't ask you anything.
I wanted to thank you actually for coming here. And
Well, thank
talking with me.
you. We've
It's
been
been a
wanting to
pleasure to
come
meet you.
here and talk to you. It's a pleasure to meet you. We've been wanting to come here and share this because I keep sharing it over and over, and every single time I do, I have to explain this is an intel agent that's doing some really good work, and he always gets his man, and because you can't
try
just
very
put out
hard.
the hashtag with Shane and people understand it. So I'm glad that we're finally going to be able to put a face behind the hashtag and also lift up some of the work that you've been doing and let America know that they do have people in the trenches that are fighting for them on a daily basis, and the people that came in don't just have a free pass because there are people like you that are trying to stop it. So thank you.
Thank you.
For what you do.
Appreciate it.
We appreciate you more than you know, my friend.
So, Chief, obviously, we just talked with one of your intel agents. We talked with Shane, and you guys quite literally created a hashtag because of the efforts that he's made. What does the hashtag Shane mean to you?
Sure. Well, Allie, I think hashtag Shane is border security encapsulated in that agent, and I think that extends to every single sector in the Border Patrol. We all want to go after the bad guys, and hashtag Chained is all about going after that bad guy. That's about taking the fight to the bad guys every single day, direct action, no questions asked. We've been waiting a long time to do that, and we're finally at that point where we're doing that. Hashtag Shane is really taking it to him. I think he's got close to 100 individuals that he has successfully captured or led authorities to capture, and doesn't get any better than that.
How long has he been doing that kind of work?
Shane started this during our last migrant crisis or catastrophe or whatever you want to call it. And I'll probably agree with whatever word you use there. So he saw that there was a problem with unvetted individuals making their way across the border, whether they were claiming asylum or otherwise. So he took it upon himself. He made it his personal responsibility. And I think that's what's important here is Shane made that his personal responsibility to go after these people. No one else was. So he did that himself and got very good at it, as we know. And, the rest is history.
So what, he has 100 over the last 4 years, give or take?
Yeah, close to 100, I believe, but he's also got a lot more in the queue. So you're going to see a lot more from hashtag Shane.
Now, as his boss, as somebody who's sitting here watching his arrests, and efforts play out, how does that make you feel? What do you think when you get another one across your desk that was at his hands? What do you think?
Well, Allie, oftentimes it's not one across the desk, but it's two or three. It could come two or three at a time, and it's to the point now where we all want to hear about it, not just myself, but the rest of the staff. So it's actually briefed in our staff meetings or our intelligence meetings. Hey, Shane got another one or another two or three, and it's always gratifying. And I think that the staff, as well as myself, we want to know, well, what was the criminal history? That's one of the first questions asked, and truly some heinous crimes, as you know. And it's sort of it gives us all a good feeling, and another one from Ma and Pa America.
Is there a way to step it up? Is there a way to get more intel agents? Is there a way to put this on a bigger scale? Because you obviously seem proud of the work he's doing. And you said he's got several in the queue. Is there room for more Shanes? Is there room for more individuals to step up and do this? Would you ask DHS to allocate more resource to that fight, that side of things, versus, hey, we need just more agents? What do you think?
Sure. Allie, I believe there are other agencies, whether it's our partners in ICE or HSI, that are doing similar type work. It's just Shane has created a niche for himself, I think, that is that only Shane knows how to do. He's a very intelligent individual, and it does take a special person to be able to know what they're looking for, to have that intuition, and that's an intuition oftentimes that can't be trained. We have brought that to Border Patrol headquarters' attention, and they are, in conjunction with Shane, pushing this out, Border Patrol nationwide. So he's made an impact nationally, and other agents are actually being trained.
So he's getting support not only from you, but from HQ as well. What does that make you feel like as his boss? To have, because there's always a fight, right? There's always a fight to get your boss to be impressed with something that you're doing. That's just the nature of the world in corporate America, and to a degree, right? You're not corporate, but you get what I'm saying. So when you have that, when you have someone recognizing one of your employees from HQ, what does that mean to you?
You know, it's that recognition it's indicative of the fact that oftentimes the best ideas come from the grassroots. They come from those agents that are working the line and seeing that kind of thing every day, and not from some chief patrol agent like myself. It's those folks out on the line that are actually seeing it and doing it, and when that's recognized, it takes on a special significance for all of us. And, you know, again, I can't stress enough that best ideas come from those Border Patrol agents on the line. Shane represents that. Hashtag Shane represents that. That's why we're proud, and that's why we put that out on social media and have for a long time, even when it wasn't necessarily so easy to put things out on social media or to do an interview like this. That was something important enough that we still sent that out and let people know that there were bad people and bad things happening in this country that did come across the border that shouldn't have been here. And we're dealing with that now, obviously, and our goal is to get them all. And Shane is someone that I think he captures the imagination and attention of us so that we can go after them all. We want them all. We don't want to pick one or two off. We want all of them.
It's like Pokemon. I mean, because like most people think you're Border Patrol, you're stuck at the border, you're doing that. He's doing interior work, interior enforcement there. Is there more that he can do? I mean, he's already running, you know, he's running nonstop doing this. Is he doing enough? Are you guys doing enough in this fight to get, like you said, the problem's already here? Are you doing enough, do you think?
Allie, we can never do enough for Mom and Pa America. We can never do enough for the taxpayer. But I will say Shane is taking it to the max. He's leaving it all on the table for that taxpayer. So we're proud of him. We're proud of his efforts, and we support him 100%. And if you're one of Mr. Shane's targets, look out, because we're going to come get you. And it's very gratifying when we lay our hands on them and deport them back to whatever country they came from to face justice there.
Yeah, someone said if you're one of Shane's targets, you better run.
It won't do any good.
No, he'll find you. He'll find you.
Absolutely, you bet.
He'll outrun you. So what is the feedback? You said you've been posting some stuff to social. What's the feedback when you post hashtag Shamed? What are people saying? What are the questions that you're getting in response to those posts, or what's the feedback you're seeing?
Sure, Allie, we have 3 sites, Facebook, Instagram, and X. And every site that we post hashtag Shane targets on, it's some of our most popular and most far-reaching social media posts. I believe it resonates with the public because this is happening where they live. This happens where you live. So they realize that, and that these folks are actually preying on the communities or have the potential to prey on those communities. So absolutely, that's going to be popular. And we know it's popular, and we're going to send that out every single time we get a Shane target.
Keep kicking it out. Anything else you want to share about Shane, about those efforts, Chief, or anything that I missed when it comes to what he's doing?
Now, Allie, it's a work in progress. What we don't want here is a single point of failure. So as you said earlier in the interview, what's next? Is he going to help train people? Is this going to be a movement? Absolutely, and I believe it already is. Look at what's being done here by Border Patrol and other agencies to take these folks out of the communities, out of America, and shipping them back. We're going to continue to do that, and we're going about it very, very aggressively now. It's a new day in the Border Patrol.
So now you just heard from Shane. You heard his story, and you heard Chief Bovino explain why it's so important that he's doing this work. Shane, already with over 91 targeted arrests that he has helped get off of the streets, get those individuals back into custody, because we know that there are over 600,000 criminal illegal immigrants in the United States that are on ICE's non-detained docket. That's according to DHS Secretary Kristi Noem. Shane is working to tick away at that list.